The Drinkin Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros. Kids, sad day. Today, Bruce Willis just announced his retirement from acting about 30 minutes ago. One of the greats, so we thought we'd bring in somebody who's worked with Chris Hemsworth here today. How are you?
Very well, how are you?
My God, it's identical. I almost think we could have gone the whole show and no one would have known.
We've already been through. He's not Australian.
I know, but he sounds like it.
No.
Yes,
No,
he does.
It's a pretty.
I'm gonna fucking haze him because his British accent isn't strong enough.
Not British enough, apparently.
If we speak American English, then my friend from Alabama over here probably speaks a little bit different version, and that's kind of the difference between the UK and Australia. It's a prison colony full of hillbillies.
Just a twang.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Got a bit more twang. And then if I shave it off, then I can be Bruce Willis.
I'll tell you what, before I say your real name to the audience, give us a thick British accent so we know you're definitely from England and not conning us.
All right, governor.
There we go. There we go.
Why does it
God
always go
damn
back to that?
Oh, governor.
It's
Apples
always,
and pears.
It's always Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah, well, it's whatever you think the most, like a chimney sweep from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
That's
Or
what it is.
or a Bobby or something.
Yeah, Bob. A nice Bobby.
Nothing does he have, folks.
That's my truncheon. Don't make me pull out my truncheon on
You
you.
know, Brittany's actually, when we were moving her shit down here, she had a box full of stuff. She goes, yeah, my grandmother gave me this. I'm like, this is a truncheon. A nightstick?
Yeah.
It's got lead inside of it. It's made for hitting people in the head.
gosh.
Like, why do you have this? Jesus Christ.
What was her explanation?
She had no idea.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, she's probably lying to me and has beaten several people to death with it. But look, we're in Texas now, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
Do you remember when Liam Neeson was in the press for that thing? He was walking around Ireland looking for a kosh after someone had hurt one of his family members.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They were taken, though. His family member was taken.
Yeah, and he has a very particular set of skills with a kosh.
Yeah, and that was his skill.
Yeah.
So let him do what he
Koshing
does.
people.
Family Guy, they parodied that. Like, Peter always talks shit about Liam Neeson, and Liam Neeson showed up and started kicking the shit out of Peter.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Great episode. Welcome to the show. Chris Williamson is here. Proud of you, just for being good-looking and jacked. I'm sure you get Hemsworth all the time, right?
Yeah, that's one of them, yeah.
You really look like him. And if
What's
you grew
the
the beard out and shit, who's the other one?
Wesley Snipes, probably.
Yeah, that's
Forrest Whitaker?
And Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. R.I.P. No, I'm kidding. He's still alive, but man, this is a sad one.
Well, what were you waiting for? He's 67 years old. He's not like going to go back and do their sequel to Moonlighting, for fuck's sake. Like, what are you talking about? He's had a great career. Now he's done.
We'll go over it today. I think you'll be shocked how many hits he's been in.
Why would I be shocked? He's one of the premier actors of our generation.
Exactly. But I don't think people realize it.
Although he's only played himself. Other than, what's that one he did with Gear where he's the fucking terrorist or whatever? He's the assassin. What's it called? Anybody? Are you guys even listening?
We'll go. The Jackal,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, the Jackal.
Is it?
We'll go.
Like, other than that one, I feel like he's just played Bruce Willis all this time.
But if you're good at being yourself, like Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds, right?
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson, but that's what makes the best the best. Yeah. And I think the same with Schwarzenegger, because let's face it, he's a terrible actor, has a horrific accent, but he knows who he is, and he's stuck to it every single time. It's not like he tried to do My Left Foot or anything. You know, he never tried to go dramatic with
That would
it.
be funny. You remember how Saturday Night Live used to do those fake auditions with Norm would do.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah.
God damn it, it's Butch Cassidy.
Norm would do Quentin Tarantino.
He did
yeah.
Tarantino, but he also did the guy from The Longest Yard. What the fuck's his name?
Boy, there's
Burt
two
Reynolds.
longest.
Burt
yards.
Reynolds.
Oh yeah, Burt Reynolds. Is
yeah,
great.
he did Burt Reynolds a lot, and then Daryl Hannah, or is that his name? The guy.
Daryl Hammond.
Hammond.
Yes.
Yeah, he did Clinton and a couple other people like trying out. For
Daryl
Star Wars.
Hammond was.
He is a really good impressionist.
Fucking
Yeah,
great impressionist.
those were good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, the cause is aphasia, which I didn't know what that was. I know I sound smart now, but actually I had to ask Dan for a pronunciation before the show started, which impacts the ability to comprehend words and or speak. It can be caused by strokes, tumors, or brain damage. But the daughter rumor was the one who posted this today. She's not saying what led to the diagnosis. However, he did announce his retirement from acting. So we're going to go over his career. He's one of the goddamn best, for Christ's sakes, okay? Moonlighting. That's where he got famous. Did you watch Moonlighting?
Never. Nah.
Really?
Nah, what is it?
Moonlighting is a TV show with him and Sybil Shepherd. That kind of broke open his career. He was fucking funny as shit. He played a detective in it. It's old school, but they used to show the reruns all the time on like TBS and shit as a kid. So
When was that?
I got to see it. It was in the 80s.
Yeah, it was in the mid-'80s,
Mid-'80s,
85
yeah.
to 89, I think, and it was kind of one of those will they or won't they. It was like one of the first, are these people going to fuck?
Yes. Yep.
Sexual tension for a few years.
Yeah,
And everybody watched it. It
Yeah.
was one of the biggest shows on TV, won multiple Emmys, and that's what made Bruce Willis, because like Dan said earlier, he was Bruce Willis. You know, so you were just like, oh shit, I believe.
Was he still bald?
I believe you could fuck that guy. He was close. So he had a little bit of hair. You could tell it was going. But truthfully, after that, I'm glad you brought that up. After that, I wondered if a guy like that could keep going as a bald guy and just be fucking dope, right? Because name another white bald guy who's become a huge actor.
Telly Savalas.
But later on in life.
But he was also
Late
a
in
bad
life.
guy, and his only
Yeah.
real big leading role was Kojak or whatever the fuck.
Kojak, and that was later in life, but if
Yeah.
it wasn't for the Diners Club commercials.
Yeah. Well, The Great Escape.
Yeah.
Like he obviously, but he was a traitor in that. He was like he's got a mean looking face. So he was a bad guy. So as far as being a leading actor, I don't think
John Malkovich has been bald a couple of times, hasn't he?
that's true.
He has, but he's not. I mean, he's never been the guy. He's been a great character actor, but as far as like leads go of a movie, besides being John Malkovich, obviously, but that was almost about other people inside of his head rather than John Malkovich. But it's tough to name as a lead.
Best bald actor of all
guy.
time?
Yeah. So after that, he did Look Who's Talking.
No.
Come on, dude.
Nah. Sorry, man.
Cartoons.
No.
Where he was the
Well,
fucking.
I'm sorry. In the fourth season of Moonlighting is when Die Hard, the original Die Hard, came out.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Die Hard was next.
Yeah.
Die Hard on there. That you know, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's, best Christmas movie of all time.
I was just going to ask. There you go. I'm with you. That's a Christmas movie,
Best
right?
Christmas movie of all time.
Yeah. And that tower still exists in L.A. The Die Hard Tower.
No fucking way.
Yeah. And I've had meetings in there, and MGM owns, I think, like 3 of the floors. And what they would do, like on your appointment for your agent, was just say, hey, it's at the Die Hard Tower. And everybody knew what it was. And I was like, oh, shit, is this real? And I remember my first meeting in there, and they were like, yeah, just go to the Die Hard Tower. And I was like, where is it? They're like, you don't know where the fucking Die Hard Tower is, you loser? And then they gave me the address. You drive up, and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm really in this place. Yeah, it's awesome.
Nakatomi Plaza.
Yes, but it was a real working office, and I think it still is to this day in Century City.
It's a cool place to work.
It's dope. After that, we got Bonfire of the Vanities. That was nominated for an Oscar. Hudson Hawk. Now that set him back a little bit. That was a bomb. It was a big, big failure that he was the lead of.
I don't remember that one.
Nobody does.
I'm looking at it now. This doesn't seem like something I would care about.
No, and a lot of people didn't, and they thought maybe his career was over. He did a movie called Billy Bathgate after that, which was okay. And then The Last Boy Scout came out. Let's go, dude. I love The Last Boy Scout. Are you a fan of that movie?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I like Damon Wayans was really good in the 90s. Like The Last Boy Scout. What's the one he did with Seagal? The Glimmer Man in 97 or 98. It was a really good movie. Yeah.
I thought Damon Wayans was great on Lethal Weapon, but he's just an asshole to work with. But I can separate the person from the art, and I thought he was great on that too. I think he's still good, Damon Wayans. It's just whether or not you want to work with him and shoot out all of his singles first, which I don't mind. I'll talk to a tennis ball all goddamn day.
Yeah.
But other people have problems with that. Next up was The Player. That was a big movie. That was another Oscar-ish movie. And then the real massive comeback was Pulp Fiction. I think everybody remembers where they were when they saw Pulp Fiction. Where were you at, Chris?
I would have probably been sneaking the DVD from my parents when I was young. I'm probably trying to watch it without them realizing that I was watching it.
Yeah, that was me. So I was too young to watch it. My parents wouldn't let me watch that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't see it until college started. And there was a channel at Ohio State that just had it was run by students, so it was just like the dopest movies
Pirate
ever.
DVD.
Totally.
Shit.
And I remember going to my dorm and they played it on there and I was like, oh shit, I never got to see this movie. And now I get to see it. And my mind was torn off my body. I thought that was the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Pulp Fiction was just fucking amazing. And then he went on another run after that. He did The Color of Night. He did 4 Rooms, which is another...
Tarantino, yeah. That's a great one.
Great one. And then he did 12 Monkeys. Shit, dude, I forgot about 12 Monkeys.
How can you? We just accidentally released a virus on all of humanity in the
know.
last 2 years, and you forgot about 12 Monkeys?
Forgot about 12 Monkeys, dude. Brad Pitt, too.
Yeah.
That was fucking dope.
That might be one of Brad Pitt's best movies. Because he's not just relying on being a good-looking, fucking witty guy. He's like a fucking lunatic. Very believable lunatic.
I thought that was his best movie.
You know what they say about Brad Pitt?
What's that?
That he's a character actor trapped in a leading man's body.
Maybe. Look, my 2 favorite Brad Pitt movies are, well, shit, I like Legends of the Fall. I'm not going to pretend that I don't love Legends of the Fall. But 12 Monkeys and then Fight Club, where he is characters. Has he won Best Actor?
He got Best Supporting for Once Upon a Time. He was also nominated for Best Supporting for 12 Monkeys.
Right.
What about Snatch?
Who won that year?
Snatch, dude.
Who beat
Yeah.
him? Yeah, Snatch is great.
Fuck, dude. Fuck.
Snatch might be his best role. Actually, Mickey is a pretty good fucking
That's
character.
wild.
Yeah.
And it's so iconic, right? But what's more iconic, that or Fight Club? You know, as a role for a person.
I don't know. I mean, those are.
How do you get to do both? It's almost unfair.
Unfair.
It's
Yeah.
unfair. You
Yeah,
get to do both of those. And he was great.
So did we just pivot to Brad Pitt now?
Yeah, so let's forget Bruce Willis like Bruce Willis is forgetting.
No, 'cause
I'll get back on track,
We've got
Bob.
Last Man Standing, good movie.
Great movie.
He did the voice for Muddy and Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Hilarious.
Never forget that.
And
then
then
The Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element, dude.
Is a
Come
classic,
on.
yeah.
Shit.
That's a classic.
Everybody was
When you think
walking
about
around.
how many hours Bruce Willis has spent on set in his entire life.
Yeah.
Think about how much time that
It's all
guy's...
of his life.
Yeah.
And then when he wasn't on set, he was at Planet Hollywood. Probably doing fucking blow, banging
Having a
chicks.
great time.
Yes, he looked like he had the best life of all time.
They used to have cocaine in the salt shakers before, the government showed up.
Probably.
Bitches.
It was him,
Commies.
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and there was one more celebrity
was
that
the fourth
used
guy?
to own it with him. Was it Belushi?
No, because he's
No,
not-
the brother.
Jim. Yeah,
Jim, yeah.
They wouldn't hang out with that guy. Come on.
That's what I think,
He's like
too.
a C-list guy.
Yeah. That's what I think,
I think
too.
everybody was mad that he lived and John didn't. So they kind of. It's like Yoko versus
You're not.
John.
You're
Lennon.
not. You're not lying.
I know
either.
I'm not lying.
You're not lying.
Then he goes on I think this is a crazy run.
Oh wait, Armageddon?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
fuck.
Hit the applause for Armageddon, dude. That's come on.
Shit, son.
the Jackal.
It's too low for Bruce Willis. Show some respect,
It only
Delco.
goes to one volume.
Okay.
The Jackal. I thought Mercury Rising was pretty good. It's like the second time in the '90s we got to talk about autism, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Was that big for you?
No.
Is that a big movie?
No, I'm more of the counting toothpicks that fall on the ground kind of.
Oh, so
autism.
Rain Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Armageddon, that was pretty fucking good.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That was a pretty good movie.
That's peak Willis, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything. Because it's hard to star in a Michael Bay movie. One, the scripts aren't very good, and you know it when you get it. But two, all of the shots he does and makes you stand still for, it's a lot of like looks and like, and because he's trying to catch a sun flare before you could do it in post production, so you had to shoot it real. And it's just a lot of looks. You just stand there and just look around the whole time and be gritty about it. Like,
I've heard that is it Ambulance?
yeah,
I've heard that's unbelievable.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's just
Check it out.
Yeah, I don't even know if it is out yet. It might be out soon, but I've heard that's insane, and that's Michael Bay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig his shit. It's definitely a style, and he makes popcorn movies. But that's a fucking skill in its own to get everybody to come out. It's like Taylor Swift. Like I'll never fucking shit on Taylor Swift because it just hits.
I would
yeah.
if she wanted you to.
Yeah, I'd take a shit on her.
Yeah.
Sure, but she'd
Like,
have to ask me.
Be polite about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to just show up and take a shit
The
on her.
Sixth Sense.
Oh boy, one more applause for The Sixth Sense. All right, so let me ask you this, because we all know where we were when we saw that. Did you guys guess the ending? Did anybody guess the ending of The Sixth Sense as it
Yeah.
was going on?
Before it even got started, I knew it was happening.
Really?
Yes, it was very obvious.
That's the autism.
yeah.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea. I was just blown away at that at the end of that movie where I was
Yeah.
just like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I'd already heard about M. Night Shyamalan and his, he's just got this penchant for wild twists, but I don't think the twists are ever that wild. Like when you watched The Village, did you
Yep.
not know that it was set in modern times?
Well,
It seemed really obvious at that point. But I had read about his work before this movie came out. I'm like, oh, there's going to be something weird here. What's the weirdest thing that could happen? Is that he's fucking dead, right?
Yeah, for me, I think with Monday Night Shyamalan, that's what the M stands for, by the way. It's Monday. With Monday Night Shyamalan, I think because The Sixth Sense was such a fucking worldwide global hit, and nobody told anybody. That was the beauty of that movie, too. Was like
No
there was
heavy
no
spoilers.
social
It was
media.
before the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before social media.
Well, I mean, what was the movie that football player fucking spoiled the ending for everyone with Tony Stark getting off?
Oh, Avengers.
Yes.
Endgame. Yeah.
And there was a NFL player who posted it, and everybody fucking hated him forever.
I think you
Dude,
should
you-
get fined for that.
Did you not think when Game of Thrones was coming out, it was like a game of chicken between you and all of your friends on your newsfeed to watch the episode before they told you what was going to happen on the episode?
You had
Yeah.
to
But
go
That's
on media blackout,
bizarrely,
yeah.
spoilers have actually probably increased the rate at which people want to watch TV shows because they go, oh shit, well if I leave it, and same as UFC. Like
Yep.
if you care about a UFC card and you don't watch it the night before, you're like phones down,
Everything, yeah.
walking around your house like with your eyes closed, like trying to turn the TV on so that you
Yeah.
get to see it before you can see what happened.
I've got two friends who physically take me off like text threads during like Ohio State games because they want to watch it later without the commercials. And I'm like, are you fucking, what is wrong with you? Like, just watch it like a normal goddamn person.
Endure the adverts.
Bill Schofield in the chat saying Donnie Wahlberg in Sixth Sense. Dude, that's what made Donnie Wahlberg an actor, that movie. And he's been in, do you know there's 250 episodes of Blue Bloods? Donnie Wahlberg's richer than everybody.
I don't know.
Fucking nuts.
How many
What year
seasons is
did Band of Brothers come out?
It was after
It
that.
was after that.
It was
2000.
2001.
He got
2001?
Band of Brothers off of Sixth Sense. And all that
He
shit.
is a very good actor. He's been in a lot of shit too.
Yeah.
The Whole Nine Yards.
I love The Whole Nine Yards.
It's a good movie.
God damn it, dude. That was a great movie.
It's kind of it was more of a slightly violent love triangle style of romantic comedy that you're not going to see from McConaughey. You know what I mean?
Yep.
McConaughey was blasting through those types of films back then, but this one was like there's always like you might die,
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's having and then what other rom-coms have had an antagonist with the like movie cred that Bruce Willis does? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually it's just some fucking dickhole. Just some douchey fucking frat guy, like
Yeah.
like you,
Like me. I'm the fucking dude. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my shit. Like, this is what I was in for. And then you get to Unbreakable after that.
Dude, that's a fucking good film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, another Monday Night Shyamalan movie.
Isn't that's part of a longer series, right? But you don't immediately realize that it's part of a bigger series.
Yeah, and wasn't there just a sequel
Yeah,
about
it's
it?
still going.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. God damn it. I remember
Glass was the sequel that tied that, and
and then there was another one after
Split?
Glass.
Is Split
Split.
part of it? Yes.
So-
Fuck, dude, Split's a modern movie, and Unbreakable feels like it was forever ago.
Yeah.
And they've just kept this arc going that whole time. It's
It was,
wild.
well, it was 22 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
22-year arc.
Yeah.
Through different movies.
And that
That's
fucking
playing the
nuts,
long
dude.
game, man.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Monday Night Shyamalan.
Monday
There's
Night
another.
Shyamalan.
What's the one Ethan Hawke did, where it's 3 movies over the course of like 20 years, and him and the same woman?
Oh, God
What is
damn
that
it,
shit?
dude.
I don't know
After
what it is.
Sunrise,
After Sunrise, After Sunset.
That's Austin guy. That's Linklater.
Yeah,
Yeah,
later, yeah.
he did not miss in any one of those 3 movies. I thought
right,
they were
all right,
all
all right.
fucking perfect.
Money.
Big fan of those 3 movies. Next up was Hearts War. Now, Hearts War is when I kind of had first moved to Hollywood and shit. I read this script, and I thought for sure that would win all the Oscars. That was one of the best scripts I ever read. And then the movie bombed. It made like $4.
Why?
I don't know. I can't figure it out. But he was the colonel in that, and I believe, if memory serves me correctly, it was Colin Farrell that was also in that.
Yeah, Cole Hauser, Terrence Howard, a lot of people in that movie.
Cole Hauser was in it, babe. Come on, babe. Fucking Cole Hauser. That's another one. With Colin Farrell, this regards to you, by the way. He got progressively like a thicker Irish accent as he went through life, and I think
Yes.
that should happen to you.
Progressively more British
Yes,
as you
dude.
as you
Just
grow up.
keep going.
Well, I'm in America now. I realized earlier on that you guys are constantly fighting against the compulsion to say the word dang at all times.
Well, not in this show. You can say we say cunt all the time.
I say cunt most.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Just comes out of you guys.
it's well in the South for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a bad word. I don't
Yeah.
like it. Not a fan.
Eli's back there. He's going to join us at the end of the show here with Golden Cricket, but fucking Bruce Willis retired. Eli,
Next up is
show some respect today.
Tears of the Sun.
Tears of the Sun. Goddamn, dude.
Piggybacked off the same consultants and production crew that Black Hawk Down had used. So it was one of the more, the action was pretty accurate as far as how Cole Hauser's in that as well, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah. They shot that in South Africa.
That was the second military movie in over a 3-year period with Black Hawk Down. I think it was in 2001 that had super realistic gunfighting scenes, and that was really nice to watch as somebody who had been in gunfights.
So yeah, I was just going to ask you. So from a military perspective, did they get it right in this one? I never saw it.
I mean, there's some stuff that, like that danger close bombing at the end, that would have wiped out everybody. There's no fucking, you don't do shit like that. But yeah, the gunfights, the baited ambush that Cole Hauser does where he leaves claymores behind and fucking waits for somebody to walk up on him and clacks them off and then fucking beats feed, that's a pretty standard soft move, yeah.
When you get a sequence of movies like that, Black Hawk Down, and then a bunch of others that are similar to that, presumably people can't have written a script and then got everything in place to release a movie within the space of 2 years. So does that mean that a bunch of different people all came upon the same idea at the same sort of time? I'm just wondering why you have a sequence.
Black Hawk Down's a real story.
Yeah,
but I'm wondering why that's been produced and then produced and then produced.
I'll tell you why. So Black Hawk Down, because I read for that. Black Hawk Down, it was the same studio that did The New Guy, and I was just coming off of that, so I get to screen test for it and everything. They weren't sure how that was going to do, so they limited the budget, and then the movie fucking crushed at the box office. And then you start a trend. So Hollywood is like the simplest, dumbest town of all time. If one thing does well, they'll try to replicate it over and over and over again. Then you get to, Hearts War, Tears of the Sun, all that other shit, and they just wanted to replicate that Black Hawk Down formula just for money. They don't really give a fuck about anybody's story as long as it makes money. Even Luttrell's movie,
Lone
Survivor, they gave that a limited budget, but Mark Wahlberg really wanted to do it.
Yeah, he got the budget increased by quite a bit on that.
Correct.
By like $100 million.
Yep. And he pushed that through on his own because he's Mark Wahlberg. But if Mark doesn't do that movie, I don't even know that it gets made, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe not. It's Harry Humphreys, by the way. He's a former SEAL that advised on Black Hawk Down and Tears of the Sun. And I think he's done quite a bit more since then as well. But yeah, it does work out that way. You see like Observe and Report and what was the other, Paul Blart Mall Cop, came out within 18 months of each other.
Yep.
It's like the same goddamn movie.
Prefontaine, it happens a lot. And then they race them into production. With Tears of the Sun, this is directors Antoine Fuqua, who did Jack Carr's new series on Amazon Prime that I'm looking forward to. But I didn't see it. I read for it, but I didn't see this, not out of like, fuck you, but because this movie got pushed for like 2 years. So I'm not sure what happened in post-production, but they delayed it a couple years and it didn't come out for a while. And then he did a cameo in Charlie's Angels. That was a huge movie. The Whole 10 Yards, which was the sequel, not as good as The Whole 9 Yards. But then he popped up in Ocean's 12, where you're just like, all right.
Oh, fuck, he was in Ocean's 12?
He played himself.
Yeah, he played himself.
Like, they did the break the fourth wall thing where Julia Roberts' character in the movie pretends to be Julia Roberts. In real life.
Yeah.
I didn't. No, come on, guys.
Say what you really feel, Dan.
People are mad that Matt Damon knew Harvey Weinstein was raping everybody, but I'm mad that he let that happen. That's way worse, in my opinion.
That's more egregious. You're right. After that was Hostage. Hostage was a good movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Which one was that one?
The one where the kids are in the house or whatever the fuck. I mean, it's...
Oh, yes.
It was a pretty good movie, but didn't get a whole lot of press.
Didn't get a lot of press, didn't get a lot of love. The next one did, though, Sin City.
Sin City was fucking great.
Fuck yeah, dude. I was high as shit when I saw that. And I was blown away by the special effects and all that shit.
Visuals.
The first time somebody had taken a graphic novel and really turned it into a nice film. Like,
Yeah.
it was
It's like a piece of art as well, right?
Yeah, it was so good.
It was really fucking good.
The next one they did, Sin City 2 or whatever, it was not good.
No.
Nada.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like, you need Marv running around tearing people's fucking eyeballs out of their head. That's a big part of it. Like when Bruce Willis grabs Homeboy's junk and rips them off.
Yeah.
And it's like it snaps. Like, oh, that was pretty. It's very comic book. That was what they were going for. They really did a good job on that.
Yeah, they did. Next up, we got Alpha Dog. Alpha Dog was a great movie. Bob, did you see Alpha Dog?
I did not, although I know that was Justin Timberlake's kind of like stepping out.
Dude, when I saw that movie, I thought Justin Timberlake was going to quit music and just act.
So did I.
Because he's a really good actor. In Time, he's good in that.
He was good in that, but social media, or what was the
Social Network.
Social Network.
Social Network. He was fucking good in that.
Yeah.
I haven't liked him in anything else besides these two movies.
In Time was a
really
fucking
good movie.
great idea.
So I'll pause because I didn't see that movie.
That's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Concept of it's great.
Okay. Lucky Number 11 was after that. It was a really good independent film as well.
What happened to Josh Hartnett after that? He just fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
And then he popped up recently in some other stuff, but he was gone for a while.
That was self-imposed. He just wanted to take a break. He was famous for super young and doing all of the things, and I think he just got burnt out Nothing tragic either. Nothing like drugs or
now he
anything
went from
else.
What was that movie where aliens show up and he's making homemade drugs and stabs them and they die, like John Stewart's
Faculty.
in it. The Faculty,
Yeah.
He went from that to Black Hawk Down, and then
Faculty was dope.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, but he wanted to take a break. Yeah. Fast Food Nation, that was pretty decent.
He was in that Planet Terror Grindhouse fucking thing.
Yeah, which I didn't like at first. It came on when I was in the hospital. I ended up rewatching it, and I liked it more the second time after watching it. But there wasn't a lot of story in its script. There was a lot of feet.
Yeah.
A lot of feet from Tarantino.
Feet and assault rifle legs.
Yes.
Which I'm 100% on board with that.
Do you know who played the assault rifle leg, by the way? Because I just watched
Rose
this.
McGowan, right?
Yeah. Who went on to Me Too all of Hollywood and start that movement. That was
Jesus
her.
Christ.
Yeah. She dated Robert Rodriguez for years and years and years.
He lives like 15 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm. His studio's down here in Austin. He's got it's on that airport hangar. I don't know if we used to say that, but whatever. It's live. Sorry. Planet Terror was after that. Obviously, that was... they did a onesie-twosie with those two movies.
Live Free or Die Hard came out. That was...
Was that number 3? 2?
That's the third
Fourth.
one. Is it the fourth?
It was the fourth one.
It's the one with Justin Long, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that was a great fucking movie, man.
Dude,
that's my favorite.
Is that the one where it's all about algorithms and the fire sale?
It's what's his name? Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah,
is
that's
a fucking
one of the
cyber-terrorist.
best.
That's my favorite Die Hard.
Yeah, that crushed.
Yeah, and here's the odd thing. So I was doing Accepted with Justin during this phase, and I go, "Oh, what are you doing next?" You know, it's a standard actor fucking question. And he goes, "Dude, I'm doing fucking Die Hard with Bruce Willis." And I was like, "You are? You're in Die Hard?" And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing in Die Hard?
They recast Sam Jackson's character. He's got to put a sign on it. Well, never mind.
Yeah, could you imagine? He does it all in blackface. Yeah. But I was like, what the fuck are you doing in Die Hard? I was like, are you playing his kid or something? And he's like, I'm playing like an IT guy.
I like that. I like that juxtaposition between those two.
Yeah, but the odd thing was those Mac commercials, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC, was going around. And so it was a little on the nose where you were like, oh, you're the IT guy in the movie. But it was good. And I think Justin's really good. Right. He's a good actor. Next up, we got Assassination of a High School President. I don't remember that one, do you?
No. The Expendables.
That's right.
But he had a small role. He had bigger roles in the second, third one, but not so much in this.
Yeah, he wasn't in the main group, right? He was the guy that they brought in. They consulted with him.
He was the CIA guy. But then Red, amazing. Red, him, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich. That was and the woman from The Weeds. I can't remember her fucking name.
Yeah,
Mary Louise Parker.
Yeah, Mary Louise Parker. That movie is fucking dope as shit.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Then it starts to get a little dark. The cold light of day.
Yeah, this one looks like a period of life where you owe money to the IRS, and you're just taking whatever the fuck and paying off your tax bill. That's what it seems like.
My cousin wrote this movie. Shout out John Petro. He wrote this movie, and he was super amped that like Bruce Willis was doing it and everything else. And this was that period in Hollywood where it was like, if you had Bruce Willis on a DVD cover, you were guaranteed a certain amount of sales overseas. So just to have him in the fucking movie was just like, all right, that's enough to sell it. Like they didn't care. It was just about movie covers at that point. And this is the dark road as we go down.
He's got a lot of momentum going into this, right?
Tons.
Yeah.
But
so much momentum.
What he would do is do these movies in between big movies. So right after that, he did The Expendables 2, right?
Yep.
Huge movie worldwide. Congratulations, you're still Bruce Willis.
He did Moonrise Kingdom as well.
Yes. Yeah. That was fucking dope, dude.
I mean, I'm not a fan because I don't like Wes Anderson movies for the most part. I like the Royal Tenenbaums, but the other ones are kind of like it's just too campy and stupid for me.
I just watched that French one, the French Connection or whatever.
French Dispatch.
Yes, because you told me to, Delco.
It was good. Right?
It was really good. I enjoyed the fuck out of it, dude. I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for you.
I didn't really care for this one, but it might be the most Wes Anderson of all the Wes Anderson movies. So if you're into that, you should. If you haven't watched it, you should probably
I
watch
liked
it.
Moonrise Kingdom. I thought this was good. But see, so right here in this career, you do Moonrise Kingdom because it's Wes Anderson. You get some street cred in Hollywood, right? And then you do the big budget movie like The Expendables 2 to keep going as a worldwide movie star.
But he had Looper in that same year.
And then
too.
he did Looper.
And that movie bombed like a motherfucker.
It did, I liked it,
was a good
dude.
movie.
I thought it was fucking good.
Why do you think it bombed?
Because of the nose appliance. that they put on fucking what's his nuts.
Exactly. So when the
Joseph
trailer
Gordon-Levitt.
when the trailer came out, people thought the CGI looked too fucked up.
It was the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Like, it was uncomfortable to watch with that shit on his face, to be honest. They should have just, like, when you go into a movie and you're seeing an actor that you know play the younger version of an actor you also know, your brain automatically, suspends disbelief. And just makes that okay. You know what I mean? You don't need to do that extra bullshit. It doesn't make it, and for me, it ruined the movie, and that's what I heard from a lot of critics.
That's
Correct.
Interesting.
And that's that trailer when it came out. That's what turned off everybody from going to see it. But I thought it was a really good film because I saw it later preparing to make fun of it, and I was like, oh shit, I actually like this fucking movie.
It was actually a good movie, but it's.
I know, but what Dan said was exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened.
Uncanny valley of CGI.
Yeah.
Fuck.
A Good Day to Die Hard, that was just a money thing.
Is that the fifth? That's where
It's
you had
the
that
one-
dude with the shaven head, and they tried to take over that power plant.
Yeah, and his son shows up, the blonde dude that was in
Jai Courtney.
Yeah, Jai Courtney. Jai, is that how you say it? Jai?
cares?
That's not a
He
real
sucks.
fucking name.
Yeah.
Is he English or Australian or New Zealand or what?
Yeah, he's not American, but
No, I know he's foreign.
he's also just like not a person.
He was good in Spartacus, the first season of Spartacus.
Fucking Spartacus.
And then he was in the first Jack Reacher movie as well. He's one of the villains there. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's Australian.
Yeah. Just like you. You know, if you don't British it up more, dude, you're fucked.
Oh shit.
Come on, really
Gotta
go
lean
for
into it.
Yeah, get
Oh, I
some
got
tea.
that.
This was a couple of years of straight up big budget money making films. So
You talking about G.I. Joe?
Yeah, a good Day to Die Hard, G.I. Joe Retaliation, Red 2, which was actually okay. It wasn't as good as the first one, obviously. And then Sin City, A Dame to Kill For was terrible. But
Terrible, but I will
they
say
had
this.
funding this time.
Yeah, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you get too much money, because when you do the first one and it becomes a huge box office success, then they up your money for the sequel. So you can't walk away from that money for Bruce Willis. I don't fault him for doing that.
No.
That's a lot of fucking cash. Rock the Casbah.
Anytime you get a chance to work with fucking Bill Murray, you take it. I don't care who you are. Like, if Bill Murray showed up right now, I would cancel this show
100%.
and go work with him.
Yes, yeah.
Like, he's such a fucking weirdo.
We would never see Dan again.
No.
You would never see me again. If Bill Murray was just like, hey, dude, come do this thing.
You wouldn't see
Bye.
Bill Murray again either.
No.
Like, I would get him hooked on something. We would just be smoking DMT out in the parking lot, probably.
And I think he would.
Yeah.
Don't you think, like, if you said, hey, what are you doing today?
Oh, he showed up to
Nothing.
that last pro-am and just fucking was taking tequila shots on every hole.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit.
And people want it. He knows what the people want. Delco doesn't like it, but I love it because he's a man of the people. He's a fucking entertainer, dude.
Man still got it.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see it.
Some of these next movies, Extraction, Precious Cargo, Marauder, I don't know what the fuck they are, but then you're back with Split, right? Like, he's going
Dude,
back.
Split.
Yeah. So one of these, we were talking about this before the show. I'm not going to say which one it was.
Has he played David Dunn 4 times now? Was he in the latest ones? Like Glass and the other, and hold on, let me see. I don't remember if he was in Glass. No, it doesn't look like it.
No,
he wasn't in that one.
So
he
one
played
of
it twice.
these, I'm not going to say which one it is. I did a rewrite on my manager, rep the director on it, and it was one of the oddest jobs of all time. And he goes, "Hey, dude, with this rewrite, I'm going to give you the exact page numbers to rewrite and just write like one-liners in there." And I was like, "Okay, it's not the whole script." That was the first time that ever happened. I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, it's Bruce Willis." And I was like, "Oh fuck, can I come to set?" And he goes, "No. You can't come to set."
Why?
And I was like, why? And he goes, we shoot out 13 of his scenes in one day, and he gets $1 million. It's a closed set because we need him not to chat with anybody, not to hang out with anybody, not to get pictures, nothing. We're on such a fierce schedule. We need to stick his face on this DVD and sell this movie overseas. So we're shooting 13-minute scenes in one day, and his singles and close-ups first, whatever we need in a master afterwards, and then the other actors will come back later and shoot the rest of the scene.
How hard is it to shoot 13 scenes in one day?
Very, very difficult. I've done it once with an actor.
It depends on the showrunner. Right?
Yes. Well, it depends on the producer, and the cast has to be cool with it. If it's Bruce Willis showing up in your fucking movie, because you still got to read with him, right, off camera. If it's Bruce Willis, you're still fucking amped and you don't give a shit, because when it's cut together, you're still doing scenes with Bruce Willis and it looks fucking badass and nobody's gonna fucking know.
Yeah.
But for the production, it fucks everyone, because you're gonna go into overtime. You're not allowed to tell him, but you definitely are going into overtime. And you got to get all these fucking scenes immediately, and that's your guy on the DVD. And in the trailer, they'll cut it to where he looks like a lead. And technically, he is in 13 fucking scenes, but It's all
from a shoot
shot
schedule.
in one single day.
So that must be a lot of pressure for the production team as well. They're coming in, like
Everyone.
everyone wakes up, whatever, 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Everyone.
that day, and
Yep.
they're like, I need to make this work.
And on this schedule, it says it's the Bruce Willis day. We're shooting all these fucking scenes today. We need everybody at their top
on
of their game. Yeah.
And then you've got a hermetically sealed studio.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's Bruce and a petri dish and nothing else.
And you have to schedule it as your last day of the week, so that way the crew has rest Saturday,
No fucking way.
Sunday. Correct, because you're going into overtime, and everybody knows it. And the crew is fine with it because they get paid overtime. So the way the turnaround works, you have to have 8 hours of sleep through Screen Actors Guild and through the unions who are working behind the scenes. So therefore, you give them the weekend off. Everybody can sleep, and then you thank them the next Monday and move on about your day. But I didn't get to go, and I was pissed. And I was just like, all right. I never got to meet him or fucking do shit, but I did the rewrites for him.
Yeah,
But,
he was in Glass, actually.
Yeah, he was in Glass.
But he was also in movies called Death Wish, Reprisal, and Airstrike, which sound like straight to DVD.
They are. And so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies in post-production now. So you're going to see Bruce Willis on your screen for the next 5 years of your life, like Tupac, because he shot so many. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. All these movies that I just mentioned are one single day with Bruce Willis, and then he'll be in all of these movies. But they're done. So these are all in post-production. So these definitely will come out.
Fucking $1 million for a long day's work.
1 day's work. 1 day's work. And there was a time when we were doing Range 15, Nick and all those guys really wanted him for the movie. And so I said, look, it's $1 million. Like we raised 1.25 on that movie. And I go, you can't blow your entire budget on 1 day with Bruce Willis as the colonel, or I forget, either that or the helicopter pilot. And I go, and it's $1 million a day. He'll do it, but that's it. And you got to shoot out of singles and get him the fuck out of there. And they were like, oh man, is there anybody else? And I was like, there's a lot of people you can buy off in Hollywood for that. A lot. To come in and just do 1 day.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, it's a ton.
How many movies has he done overall? What's the total number of movies?
144 credits. Crazy. I mean,
Dude,
that's
wild.
Fucking nuts.
Who do you think's a harder working in terms of output? Nick Cage, maybe? Nick Cage pumps out a lot of shit.
Nick Cage is harder working out of necessity for those tax reasons, right? He's more like a crackhead panhandling to get money for more crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis is
He's
just
constantly paying off his...
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Nick Cage, because he's got a movie coming out that's going to revive his career where he's playing Nick Cage, ironically. It was in South by Southwest a couple weeks ago here.
Okay.
And the trailer's one of the dopest trailers ever. It's really funny. He's self-depreciating and everything. But he did an interview at South by Southwest here after the movie, and he said, look, I want everybody to know, all those movies I did, yes, were for tax reasons. But he goes, I've never fucking phoned it in. I genuinely tried my hardest to make it the best movie I possibly could, and I will be doing more of them.
No, he's also full. He's always full Nick Cage.
Yeah.
And no matter how dumb the fucking movie is, he's always Nick Cage.
Yeah, he's become a caricature of himself
Yeah.
a little bit, though, right? Which is why you can play a movie of yourself being yourself, and everybody knows what it means.
Yeah, and he didn't want to do it. So he turned it down 4 times, he said, because he's like, dude, I don't want to be Nick Cage and give away all the shit. And they were like, but it'd be really funny, and it was Lionsgate, and it's going to be a
But
big
Nick,
movie.
everyone knows it already.
Yes,
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. So with Bruce Willis, it was simply just to collect $1 million for 1 day of work. And it's better than doing a commercial where you're, drinking coffee for a day or something. It's the same amount of hours. So
It feels like more of a grift to do a Nespresso than it does to do a bad film.
Yeah, unless you own the company like Clooney.
Fuck, does he own part of Nespresso?
Yeah, he owns a fucking company.
Okay, the guy's smarter than I give him credit for.
Isn't that fucked up?
Shit, son.
'Cause I thought the same thing. I was like, why is he doing these commercials? It's coffee commercials. He owns
given a chunk of Nespresso. That's
he owns
why.
15% of the company. Yeah, so
Fuck. Clooney.
he sold that tequila for what, $3 billion? Stan, what was it?
Something like that.
It was
Everyone's
fucking
got
crazy.
a drink, right? Reynolds has got that aviation gin.
Yeah, that sold. We've got Hard AF Seltzer.
Yeah, we're right up there with Ryan Reynolds and.
I believe we are, Dan.
Yeah.
I believe we're more important than Ryan Reynolds. Okay.
Well, he's Canadian, which is to say not important at all.
Yeah, not at
Because
all.
nothing in or from Canada has ever been important.
I rank Britain way above Canada.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they still own Canada.
Canada.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean-
How much do you own of Canada? Is it still a lot or the whole thing?
all of it.
No shit.
No idea.
Technically.
Wow.
Technically, it's part of the not the UK, but it's part of the
Commonwealth.
Yeah, Commonwealth. So, but what made Canada valuable is pumping out oil.
Yep.
And having very rich lithium mines, and they sold all the lithium mines to China, and all their oil got shut down by our senile president, basically. So we'll see how they turn out. I guess they invented basketball.
Really?
Yeah, James Naismith, he's Canadian.
I didn't know he was Canadian.
Yeah.
No shit.
But I'm pretty sure he invented it in America.
Invented it in America, but yes, is Canadian.
And it was in the Midwest
important,
somewhere,
man.
right?
That's important.
What?
He was in the Midwest somewhere at the time.
No, he was in the
right?
Northeast. Then he eventually moved out to KU and became their basketball
I
coach.
see. Yeah. But I mean, again, in hockey, by the way, American did that too. So,
Did it really?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Fuck
Fuck Canada. I mean, South Park had it right this whole time.
Yeah.
Why the fuck have we been listening to these people?
No idea, dude. No fucking idea.
I think we should, and instead of the Trump 7 Muslim nation ban, we should just ban Canada. Or annex it.
I'm fine with it. I would miss Mexico, I think.
Yeah, they go on vacation.
If you had to choose
Yeah.
between keeping Canada or keeping access to Mexico.
So if
How many times have you been to Canada since you came here, and how many times have you been to Mexico?
More times to Mexico. I've been
Yeah.
twice
Yeah,
to
dude.
Mexico, 0 times to Canada.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a Labatt's. All right, you want a fucking margarita.
I don't know. Molson's used to be the fucking 13%.
used to be, and that
Like
was the only.
when we would go up to Toronto to fucking party or go
yeah.
for business stuff, we
Yep.
would just drink Molson's at the strip clubs, and that would be fine. But it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And if Trump came back in office and he goes, all right, America, choose. We got to blow up one country, nuclear weapon. Which country? I'm voting Canada. Get it the fuck out of here.
Toronto, see you later.
Over Mexico. Like I'm taking Mexico
Yeah.
every fucking time in that.
For sure.
Just a party in the food. Like, what's a Canadian food that we fucking eat?
Poutine's pretty goddamn good.
What's that?
Can-
I haven't
okay.
had that.
Poutine is like French fries, some kind of cheese, gravy, and usually some kind of meat.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a meal. That just sounds like individual other meals
It's-
thrown
You-
together.
How many calories
where
do
do
you
you
think are
live?
in poutine?
Newcastle, Northeast.
You still live in England. You
Yes.
said you were in America.
Well, I am.
You moved here.
Right now, Texas.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to get some poutine while you're here in the States. I don't know.
Dan was the one that turned me on to poutine. I never had it before.
It's turkey. It's like dark turkey gravy usually, and then some kind of cheese on fries with. You can get it with brisket a lot here, or you can get it with. I've had it with corned beef in a lot of Irish places in the U.S. Very good.
Yeah, it's just loaded French fries.
It is.
With cheese curds melted over the top of it.
And when you eat
turkey
it,
gravy.
you've got to go
sophisticated.
You got to go to sleep afterwards.
No, it's white trash food. It's like all the white trash foods just dumped into one thing.
Yeah.
Except for Spam. I guess there's no Spam in there.
But you're not doing anything the rest of the day. So just as a heads up, if
It's
you're
pretty
having
heavy.
poutine, you're done for
Yeah.
the day. Like, call it, go back to your ghost bed, turn on Netflix. Like, you're not moving after that.
But this is the amount of. We had to go that deep into the arsenal to find something that's just a minor redeeming quality for Canada. So fuck that whole country.
Exactly. And that even took some time.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, nothing on the tip of your tongue of like, like Vancouver's known for their weed.
No, we've got a guest here, and we've been talking about Canada and Bruce Willis.
Which is necessary, dude.
No.
Which is necessary. Chris, you have a fucking big YouTube and all that bullshit, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Why? How did you do it?
I went on reality TV. So I've been a club promoter for pretty much all of time, filling nightclubs in the UK. Did some reality TV stuff, came off, thought, is getting people drunk really all that I'm going to do? Started a podcast, and then we're 500 episodes deep now, and it's been going for 4 and a bit years.
Tell everybody the name of your show.
Modern Wisdom. So if you search Chris Williamson on YouTube, you'll see what I'm doing. Jordan Peterson, Seth Godin,
So I
Ryan
saw
Holiday.
your clips with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I was chasing people around the internet for a while.
Yeah. How is he? We've tried to get him on this show.
He's good. He's good, man. He just did a show in Utah to 10,000 people.
Dan, you went to one of his shows recently.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
He's a thoughtful dude, pretty smart, and his followers are a little weird.
I was just gonna say the only thing
Like
that
a
I've
lot
noticed
of-
they're cultish towards
Yeah,
Jordan
they
Peterson.
all show-
Well, I think they see him as the answer to a lot of the
Yeah.
ailments that they have. You know, if you're an existentially lost young dude, and Jordan's been one of the people that's helped you to fix that, then when you're in a 3-piece suit, it trying to show some sort of like reverence to this guy that stood up on stage.
Yeah.
That's what people see it as.
But
He's
I'm
the guy
not,
that fixed
from
it.
his perspective, I'm not sure he would. I would wonder how he would feel about people emulating him instead of learning and being themselves. You know, I feel like he would probably like more of the latter. To be honest, he's a strong individualist.
People emulate those that they admire, though, right?
For sure, yeah.
They try to copy
yeah.
whatever they think is effective or successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else has been on your show that you enjoyed?
Man, I've had a lot of people on that have been really, really interesting. People like Aubrey Marcus, who's from out here. He's an interesting dude.
He's been on Drinkin' Bros, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Really interesting guy.
He's not afraid to talk about the swinger lifestyle and all that shit.
Fuck, man. Like, you've never felt like so much of a prude until Aubrey's told you a story about like some dude smashing his girlfriend while he's in a different room.
Yep.
And he's smoking DMT or something and being completely fine with it.
Yeah, just walking the
wild.
line, you know?
We need to interview him about this whole Will Smith situation because
Oh, yeah.
how many people has Aubrey slapped?
Oh, fuck, dude. By the way, Chris Rock has a show tonight. I didn't know, man. Ticket prices are $1,000 a ticket.
Where?
Boston. So
Isn't he doing something with
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart as well?
Yeah, that's later in the summer. But and I thought that was the tour. He's doing his own solo tour, and tonight is the opening night. And you look at it and you're like, man, that's very coincidental, isn't it? It's very coincidental.
What did you settle on? I'm going to guess you've spoken about this week. Did you settle on it being real or it being fake?
It real.
Yeah.
For like 100%, because everybody was too flustered, and it was just even him. And if you know it's coming, I think you can get back to the cue cards really quickly and everything else. And then reading that the joke wasn't scripted,
I heard that if it had come out that they'd scripted that and it had ended up with Will swearing on air, that they would be in so much bother.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If they'd put that into some sort of a script or a scene.
The FCC would have come down with
annihilated them.
with a fine that would have been like probably $5 to $8 million. I would guess for something like that.
Just
if they found out it was
fuck
scripted.
twice.
Yes. So if you say fuck on air, I believe it's a $250,000 fine if it's an accident. But then they've put this 5-second delay in all of live TV anyways, just in case it happens. So they can bleep it just in time. And
so this is why the Aussie version was the one that everybody was using?
Correct. Because over there is no time. There's no tape delay.
No, they're all criminals.
Yeah.
As I've said multiple times on this show.
Dude, have you seen the news organizations like Sky News Australia and stuff? It's the most based news ever. They just bring on like culture war people, and they'll have it's basically a podcast that happens to be broadcast to the news organization.
Well, they're just going for the ratings, which is kind of what we're doing here with Fox and CNN, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but they box out a lot of people in those networks.
That's true.
Like if you're counter narrative, you don't make it on CNN or MSNBC, and if you're counter narrative and you go on Fox, they give you a little bit of time and then fucking use a panel to destroy what you just said. Like, oh, thanks for coming today. What that guy just said is fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? So they're using those people more as props. Sky News just lets people fucking say crazy shit sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. There's a guy in here. Has Eric Church ever been on your show?
No.
Huge country star. He canceled his fucking show he's a huge
UNC fan, yeah.
Yeah, UNC fan. And they're playing Duke in the Final Four, and he was just like, I got to cancel this fucking show. His fans are pissed. Rightfully so. I mean, you fucking fly in for all that shit.
Fuck 'em.
Committed, though.
Yeah, I guess, dude. I can't believe he did it.
Why didn't he just watch the show with the fans?
I know.
Just broadcast the show on the fucking Jumbotron or some shit and watch it with the fans and play during the fucking...
Or just play. Go on right after the game.
Yeah.
Just go on after the game and be like, all right, great. It's going to be a little late tonight, but we're going to watch this other thing. They do it in boxing and like UFC all the time. If another event is going on or a game goes to overtime just before it, they'll wait for the main card and be like, all right, let's push this a little bit. Let's hang, dude. Let's show some shots backstage and do some shit.
What were we talking about to do with gluten before? Why were we talking about gluten?
Oh, Hardy F. Seltzer's gluten-free.
Yeah, that was it.
What you're drinking, yeah.
Yeah, so I had this guy on my show, a guy called David Robson, written a book called The Expectation Effect. And in it, you know the placebo effect, right? You expect something to happen and therefore you get some of the impact. But that seems to be effective across a whole bunch, way, way, way more mechanisms than we first thought. So since 2010 to now, the number of people reporting gluten allergies has gone from 3% to 30%. So there's no way that our biologies have... Yeah. 30% of people are self-reporting gluten intolerances. So what it seems like is some sort of psychological contagion. So they brought people into a study. Some of them did and some of them didn't think that they had gluten intolerances. And nobody was given gluten, but everybody was told that they were given gluten. There were people in there who didn't have gluten intolerances biologically, who didn't eat gluten, who came out in hives and had diarrhea and had inflammation and stuff like that. So this is how significant of an impact you can get from a psychological contagion, from people believing that they've got something, even though they haven't had the thing that triggers it, and they don't have the thing, they've still had the effect.
There's wild.
There's probably some amount of increase because people have stopped casually eating gluten. It's the same thing that happened with peanuts. In the early 90s, everybody started worrying about small rashes on children. People weren't, in the early 90s, were not going into anaphylactic shock because of peanuts. But it was mildly irritating, and instead of doing what a normal human being would do, which is to slap the fuck out of your kid and tell them to stop being a pussy, right? They pulled all these kids, they pulled peanuts out of everything. Like, they're not in a lot of candies anymore. You can't have them anywhere near a fucking school.
That small amount of exposure was what was giving people in later life protection.
Yes, that's right.
And you know what's weird? To that point, like as a parent, because I've got kids, they will literally send fucking emails all the goddamn time of like, let us know if you have a peanut allergy. We've created a whole separate meal that has no nuts in it. No nuts.
We created that problem. But this is not the same. Gluten intolerance is not, like, I'm sure there's some rise, but the fact that it was double blind and that they were tested for gluten intolerance and didn't have it and also were not given gluten, that's really funny.
Yeah. And
I have a question to say about that, though. Like obviously, we could not have changed physiologically in 30% in that amount of time, but can food have changed that much in that amount of time?
Well, gluten is a protein, though.
Right.
And a protein is a molecular structure. I don't think,
No, but I'm saying...
maybe the delivery absorption.
The delivery mechanism of the gluten is what I'm saying. Like the bread that we're eating now is some sort of genetically modified or added preservatives in some way.
Well, let's be really clear. Every food you've ever put into your body has been genetically modified, either by selective breeding or something else, right?
And we're currently talking about microplastics now that have currently just been discovered in the bloodstream and in other organs.
That's an actual problem that human beings have caused. Turning maize into corn didn't fuck up human beings, but putting little fucking microbead plastics and everything is why testosterone is down 40% in most men over the last 25 years. It's why fucking women's hormones are all fucked up. It's the cause of a lot of cancer. Yeah, we've really fight, and now they've discovered these microplastics in blood. Like, it's in all of our blood.
Where's that come from?
From single-use plastics, from certain cosmetic products that, like, so remember those apricot face scrubs?
No, but okay.
Yeah,
it was a big thing in America, and part of the appeal was that it would exfoliate your skin because it was smashed up apricot pits in there.
Yes.
Well, it turned out that it was not that. It was fucking some kind of fake apricot scent and then little plastic beads.
What, and were you absorbing it topically through the skin?
That and through water and shit like that. Was getting into the water supply, and
because
it was
it's
undetectable.
Rough. And so, like, it's rough when you use it, so it exfoliates your skin. However, exactly what Dan said.
If it's able to get into your bloodstream, that means it's less. Like, most of our water filters are either 1 or 0.5 micron filters, right?
Not fine enough to get rid of this sediment.
Not even close. It's not even close. So now we're finally looking at it in the blood, and we're all heavy metals and fucking microplastics are all in our blood.
Dude, I found out the other day, one of the doctors that people go to for TRT in Austin, apparently one of the guys that they go to that's most popular, he uses the testosterone level of men from the 1960s rather than from now.
Yeah.
Because pretty much every single person is way, way, way outside of range if you take the people from the 1960s. Like, no one's in range.
Well, there's two problems. One is that over the last 25 years, the average male has a 40% reduction in overall testosterone, right? Just from probably a more sedentary lifestyle to some degree, but also all the outside bullshit that's going on. The other part is that when it comes to regulating testosterone, there is this very broad definition of what normal means, and it goes from somewhere in the mid 400s up to like 850. And if you're anywhere in that range, your primary care physician is going to tell you you're fine. But a fucking 25-year-old should not have the same level of testosterone as an 85-year-old, which would be like in the mid 400s somewhere. So we have an entire generation of people who have extremely low testosterone for their age, right? And for some reason, they can't figure out what gender they are. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
They're all pussies. They have no tolerance for any kind of fucking discomfort whatsoever because they're fucking pussies.
Pussies. And full disclosure, even with our Hard AF Seltzer here, if you look at the back of that can, it says gluten-free on there, right? At the top.
Yep.
The only reason The only reason that's on there is one of the brewery in Florida, this big distributor in Florida, was like, "Hey, is your product gluten free?" And I said, "Yes." And before we were doing the testing and everything else, and he goes, "I don't see it on the can." And I go, "Why? Why would you?" And he goes, "It's such a mental thing with women in particular, and everyone else that you need to put it on the fucking can. You'll sell more when you go to grocery stores and everything else." And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's total bullshit."
We should have had Tommy Boy explain that you can put your head, a butcher can put his head up a cow's ass, right?
Yeah. And so
blah, blah.
we did it.
Did anybody get that joke? That's from Tommy Boy, where he wanted a guarantee on the box?
Yeah.
Does anybody?
Yeah,
it was
I get it.
1993, and it was.
I'm a fan of David Spade.
Same. I'd like to have. He was almost on the show. We'll get him back. We'll get him back.
But think about that gluten thing. Think about that self-induced expectation effect for gluten intolerance. Like maybe by putting those 10 letters, 10 characters on the back of the can, you've stopped people who don't have a gluten intolerance and haven't taken gluten in from worrying whether or not they're maybe going to have a reaction.
Yeah, and that's what it is, man. And it's weird, but that's the only reason it's on the can.
Wild.
And it is gluten free, but like, fuck, do we need to say that? Like, it's seltzer, for Christ's sakes.
Well,
apparently.
So what do you started this show coming out of the reality bullshit and club promoting and stuff.
Yeah.
What's your goal exactly? Like, you have a lot of pretty interesting guests come on, and you're not really pigeonholed into one type of person that's coming on, so that's good. But what's the overarching goal?
I found when I was a young guy that it was just difficult to kind of work out how to live an effective life.
Right.
It's very difficult. The archetypes and the role models that I've got as a millennial versus my parents' generation, there's not really many of the lessons that they had that you think apply now. It's a different world.
Right.
You didn't have to learn about how to deal with technology addiction or what it means to be able to work from anywhere on the planet on your laptop, or whether or not you should get married in your 30s or in your 40s or whatever. Like all of these lessons, I just tried to find a show that would have been for me 10 years ago. All of the questions that I wanted answering, and that was what Modern Wisdom, which is what the show is.
Yeah.
That's what I tried to find out. And there's people that have got really good answers. And over time, you start to sort of create a model of the world that you think works for you. Dude, the difference between me at 24 and me now at 34 is worlds apart.
Steroids?
No.
you would think about it.
Jordan Peterson.
Oh.
Direct intravenous Jordan Peterson.
You had to think about it. You're jacked. Like, that's part of your whole shit.
Training's good.
Yeah.
Enjoy training.
Yeah,
You got to do it, man. You got to try and evade this testosterone decrease.
Fucking quad father. When you walked in, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Who's the quad
tight jeans,
father?
they play a role,
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like. I don't know if anybody's done a whole lot of testing in, we wouldn't have the data probably from 25 years ago for places like sub-Saharan Africa where there's not a lot of processed foods and shit, and how their testosterone levels have maintained.
Use them as a control group.
Yeah, but I doubt we have that data from that long ago. But it would be interesting just to test groups of people there now and see if they're like us or if it's commensurate with what we were in the 90s, right? Like the early 90s. I don't know if anybody's done any studies like that.
I don't think it can be anything systemic that's happening across the globe, right?
I mean,
what else would it be?
It would be a good study to do because we would find out if the cosmetic products, the single-use plastics, and the processed foods are the problem, right?
People microwaving shit in plastic, man. That's what needs to stop.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Like you're melting plastic into your food.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Dangerous.
I dig it. The more than, like, who cares anymore, you know? My wife thinks if you set up your system for all this fucked up shit, like as a kid, then later on in life you can fucking eat or drink anything and it's not going to matter.
No,
Maybe.
that's why America is so obese now. It's
Yeah, but
literally-
that's
If you can control
that's
it.
sugar and processed foods.
Yeah.
Though, but we're talking about shit that causes cancer, right? Like all these the people that live to like 130 fucking years old or whatever, they're all eating bullshit, man.
They're
not
smoking
vegans.
cigarettes.
Smoking
Yeah.
cigarettes, drinking like straight whiskey.
Yeah.
A lot of them, it's whiskey or vodka.
Yeah.
I watched one of those 60 Minutes studies. I don't know if you saw it, but on there, they had people, I think it was 15 people over the age of 100. And they wanted to know how they
what
lived.
do they all do that's caused this?
What
to
did they all
happen?
do? Because one of them was in like World War II and got shot down, and like he had a bunch of crazy shit. And like they were like, dude, how did you do it? And most of them were the same. They were eating like fucking eggs, greasy shit in the morning, like sunny side up, bacon, huge strips of bacon, drinking vodka or whiskey, some form of alcoholic drink, but in moderation, like one a night. They weren't blasting hard, going fucking 5, 10, ounces of shit and over and over and over again.
But they won't be lonely. That's one of the things that they definitely won't be. So loneliness is a huge mortality predictor.
Yeah.
Spending too much time being sedentary, they're probably going to move a lot. I think most of the people that have lived over 110,
they're really mobile.
Japanese, Okinawa.
Yeah. There's one village actually where they have like a high. It's why fish, like pescatarianism, got so popular in the early 2000s because they only ate fish.
Yeah, okay.
They ate fish and rice, and that's it. Like no vegetables, no bullshit. Just that all the time. But that's like. That culture's been doing that for fucking 5,000 years.
But was it that, or was it the fact that they stayed mobile and strong until
It's probably more of that,
age?
because when you hear about these older folks, like the World War II veteran that lived here in Austin, that lived until he was like 150, and I can't remember his name, but he was still like up and about up until the last few months of his life. I think that's probably part of it. Like moving around, right?
It's not just about how long your lifespan goes for, but it's your health span as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you live until 120, but the final 40 years of your life are you being a potato on a couch, like what's the point?
Well, I mean, not only what's the point, but now you're a fucking complete drag on society. Like you're
and your family and
fuck that.
Everything else.
I would rather get. There's a bunch of different things you can do now. First of all, Oregon just passed a law where assisted suicide is legal even if you're a non-resident, so you can just go there and blow your brains out or whatever, and it's fine.
Really?
Or they'll shoot you up with whatever bullshit.
I'm into that.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, Richard Overton's his name. Also, you can get turned into a diamond. You can get turned into a fucking tree. They put you in like one of those. You know, you've seen you buy a tree from the store and it's got that burlap wrap on the bottom.
Right.
They put you in that and it fertilizes the tree and shit. You can fire yourself into a brick wall. And then have the splatter pattern turned into a print and sell that print and use the money to troll your friends, which is my plan.
Yeah, that's Dan's plan.
That's my plan. I'm going to buy billboards all over the place with him just chugging dicks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. I'll be dead. What the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. I almost died a few
I'm
months ago.
I'm going to be the first billboard terrorist of all time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to hire a crew.
Posthumous billboard terrorist.
Yep. So I'm going to hire a bunch of people to fucking just do this, not pay for it. Fuck them. Like I'm going to pay the people to do it, but I'm not paying the billboard company.
No,
Clear Channel can go fuck itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just going to be a bunch of idiots that like me putting up weird shit about all my friends everywhere. Lies, slander. All of it.
All of it.
There was a lady that had on the show who was telling me about some of the weird laws to do with assisted suicide or euthanasia or whatever in the US. And in one of them, they've needed to be able to create a special type of plunger. So the doctor can't administer the drugs that kills the person, okay? The person has to do it themselves. But some of these people are in such a vegetated state that they can't move anything. So it's got to the stage where they've created a special plunger that their elbow can touch on.
Like a Stephen Hawking
So the
thing,
doctor lifts the elbow up and then allows their elbow to depress down the plunger. And I'm like,
boy.
dude, like just press the thing yourself.
Yeah.
It seems like such an arbitrary way to try and get around I don't know.
Yeah,
wild.
I come on, man.
Yeah, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
We're all fucked.
We regulate the weirdest shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody, and for some reason, Democrats in America are really mad that they can't talk about gender identity and sex acts to kindergartners. I don't understand why everybody's so mad about that.
I don't either. I saw the DeSantis thing this morning.
That's what the quote unquote "don't say gay" bill. That's what it says.
Yeah.
Like if you're a public employee, it's not your job to hide shit from parents and to have conversations about sex with 5 to 8 year olds. That's what it says.
And then Disney today.
That seems like a normal fucking thing to say.
Totally. And then Disney today came out and said we're going to add more trans characters to cartoons and all that other shit. And you're just like, why?
Because that's what kids need to know about.
Yeah. Look, I have kids. They've never asked one single fucking thing about it, like ever.
Because you're taking them to the right schools.
But if you keep showing them over and over, then you have to have these fucking conversations.
Well, think about what your kids will come to you during a day and say.
Oh, dude.
Like, Daddy, I want to be a fireman. Daddy, I want to be a rodeo. Daddy, I want to be a football player. Daddy, I want to be a whatever. It's like you don't take any of those things particularly seriously. I don't understand how we can permit kids who aren't even old enough to learn about what sex is something that's so intimate and so permanent that might send them down a path that they then can't get back out of.
Yeah, you know what my kid has never said to me? I've got 2 boys right now and a girl on the way. Both boys have never said, Dad, I don't want my dick anymore. You know why? Because they're fucking 7 and 3 years old. They know nothing about that shit. And this is exactly the people that, in this age range of Dan, for this bill that they want to pass, like, kids aren't fucking close to thinking about any of that shit at that age unless you fucking jam it down their throat.
Yeah, the only reason that any kid would be thinking about that is because some adult is trying to groom them.
Yes.
right? That's all that is. And
Think about how impressionable they are at that age, right? They're looking to their teachers for role models. They're looking to them, how am I supposed to behave in the world? What's my model of how this society moves forward? Okay, well, is it that everything is fluid and that I don't need to, I can be whatever I want to be? I don't know, man. Like, we need to be careful about throwing things out. Like, tradition is a set of solutions that we've forgotten the problems for a lot of the time.
Right.
And you take the tradition away, and a lot of the time the solution isn't, it doesn't exist.
Well, when you're an activist, right, or you're if you're in the government, like the government's still passing bills all the time. We haven't discovered any new shit about how to govern human beings in the last fucking 100 years, really, right? Like we understand equality and that we need to fucking make sure that happens, but there aren't, like, aside from different economic strategies that might pop up from time to time and a difference of opinion on things like inflation and global economics, we aren't discovering a whole lot of new things. But I think it's like justifying your existence. I'm an activist, but for what? Like, I'm a cause head. These people, it's like that movie PCU with Jeremy Piven. Just whatever the cause du jour is, that's what they're fucking into now. And then they have to create this whole fucking narrative of why. But that's bullshit. Like you're saying, instead of, it's the inverse of what you're saying. Instead of what is also happening, which is people are forgetting the problems that we found these solutions to, they're now creating problems because they just discover solutions first. Like, that's not how that works. That's chicken before the egg kind of situation.
Well,
right?
the reason for that is because it makes you feel very moral if you can be the sort of person that identifies a problem, even if there is no problem.
Yeah.
And this is why I think you should always be very skeptical of whoever it is that is espousing really vitriolic, aggressive, militant views online about some sort of social problem. Because you think, okay, like, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
Like, why is it that you get to feel moral by pointing out other people's failures? And this is why we love Scandal. I learned this the other day in a Jonathan Haidt book. The reason that we love Scandal is because the happiness hypothesis. Scandal allows us to feel moral whilst having done nothing moral to earn it. Because we point at somebody else and we say, look at how bad these bastards are.
I'm better than them.
Look at how bad that person is. Meanwhile, no one's got their eyes on you.
But I know that, though. Like, as an adult, like, I know that. I know what Scandal is, and I know all that shit. Like, you take the Chris Rock thing, right? And I hate to use this example. It's just, that's the biggest thing there is right now. But, like, the reason why I loved it is because I knew I could talk about it and be like, oh, shit, this is fucking crazy. Look at that. But it's also not me, you know? Like, when it is you, then that's a different story. So, like, I think people just don't know. That's Dan and I talk about this all the time. It's the hypocrisy of everybody else to not recognize that you've done fucked up shit on your own. But this one moment you get to turn to somebody else and be like, oh, fuck this guy.
Your morality stands on the shoulders of somebody else's failure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not a very solid footing.
No, not at all. It's fragile as hell.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the problem, right? And I think that everybody fundamentally knows this, that a lot of people fundamentally aren't good. And you get this purity spiral circular firing squad thing where the only reason, here's an interesting stat, right? So 2012, Democrats voted for their own side because they hated conservatives more than they loved Democrats. And the same thing happened on the opposite side of the fence. Yeah. So what you have is groups that are bound together not by mutual love of an in-group, but by mutual hatred of an out-group. That's the most fragile way to hold any group together ever, because you end up constantly seeking for who is the most recent heretic that we can get rid of that shows that I am someone that's of worth.
It works when the thing you're rallying around is a physical feature or a geographical location, because those things have stayed pretty persistent over the years until relatively recently. But when it's an idea, now you're in big fucking trouble, right? Because it's like, well, you're not as good a Christian as I am, or you're not as fucking as liberal as I am. I'm more progressive. Like it's this constant fucking tribalistic race to out progressive each other or out whatever the fuck. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But that's the hallmark of fundamentalism. You start with the idea and then you build the facts.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to be right. The standard isn't we're going to find what's right or reality or any of that shit. It is this position is correct, and then now I have to go out and prove that. That's called confirmation bias, and it's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
That's not how science works at all.
No.
Like when I've said this before, but when Bill Nye and Ken Ham had that debate about evolution that was on like CBS or whatever, they asked the two of them, and I hate Bill Nye, I think he's a cunt, but when they asked
the science guy?
Yeah. He's not even he's a fucking mechanical engineer, master's degree.
He's a real scientist.
No. Anyways, when asked what would change your mind about this, Ken Ham said nothing. I believe that the Bible's the literal word of God, blah, blah, blah. And then Bill Nye just said evidence.
No.
And as much as I hated him in that moment, I had to respect him because that is the correct answer to that fucking question. Evidence. There is a best way to run our current government with the current conditions. And we are doing nothing to find out what that is. We're applying two labels, conservative and liberal, to the solutions that we're just creating that benefit us the most. But they're not even technically conservative or liberal anymore. We're living in a fucking retard world. This is the dumbest period in human history, by far. I don't care how much we know with the internet and all that shit. This is the dumbest period in all of human history.
There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? We're gods, but for the wisdom.
Yeah. And it's whether or not you could admit who you are as a person. Because everybody wants to think that there's something they're not. And it's like, can you admit that to yourself? And I don't think a lot of people can. Like, that's the problem.
Well,
most of the people want to say I'm the smartest guy in the room or I'm the funniest or whatever it is. And, like, I can tell you right now, here's the smartest guy in the room, right? But if we go into a party or something else somewhere else, I guarantee you 8 other people will say they're smarter than Dan. And they won't be. And it's just like, fucking A, man, why? This would be so much easier if you were just honest about who the fuck you were.
Well, I think it's like what you were talking about before was with aspirational stuff. We don't really have any intellectual heroes anymore. Most generations had that. Like, people respected Walter Cronkite. Despite whatever flaws he may have had, people respected that guy. He was an intellectual leader, and we had that. A lot of other ones. Now it's like Peterson is starting to make a move into that territory, but mostly what you see from the community that would be providing that is a bunch of crazy partisan sniping each other. It's not like thought leadership.
Well, everybody gets weaponized by one side or the other as a useful hammer to cudgel the other group with, right?
Yeah,
everybody wants to co-opt in. Do you remember, was it Nicki Minaj last year that became based for like 2 weeks? And then
because she said her cousin got his balls blew up or some shit. Or
from the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, so immediately everybody that agreed with Nicki Minaj was like, right, I'm going to attach Nicki Minaj to the front of this spear and throw it at another group.
Yeah.
And that immediately makes anybody tribal.
But
right?
Isn't that's just tokenism, isn't it? Like in a different form?
Yeah, perhaps, I suppose. But it happens with anything that you would care about, right? So let's say that Peterson came out against some of the vaccine stuff that Trudeau's been doing. So you go, okay, so he's now on our side. And you go, well, hang on a second. As opposed to taking such a low-resolution view, why not think that he's just a person that we might need to take in totality and move forward from that?
Yeah. That's how it is. I mean, we don't have that anymore. We don't even have that process by which to have someone come into the public sphere, establish their bona fides, and then become a thought leader. That doesn't even exist anymore. It's just you do enough. If you're in the right spot at the right time on TikTok, now you're famous and people are listening to you. The White House will invite 25 of you to give you propaganda to go push out about Ukraine and gas prices. Like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
Like, we're all fucked is what I'm saying.
But think about it this way, right? That fame used to be a signal that you'd done something that was worthwhile of being well known, right?
Yep.
Whereas very recently, within the last sort of 50 years, fame has become an end in itself that people want for the purpose of being famous. So what you've done is decoupled fame from the thing that it used to signal.
Right.
And now you have people who are simply famous for what? For being famous.
Yeah.
It's the most hollow, useless, vapid 21st century solution to anything ever. And that's what people want. Kids between the age of 5 and 11, the number one job that they want is to be a YouTuber.
Yeah. Boom.
His kid.
My kid
said that.
So I got a thing home. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite thing? And this was at 5 years old. 5 years old, and it came back from kindergarten. It was like, who your child is, what he likes in this world, and everything else. Likes hugs from mom. He likes playing with dad. What do you want to be when you grow up? A YouTuber. And he knew that at 5 years old. It keeps getting crazier and crazier. And like, I'll tell you a more difficult conversation I had to have the other day. And he's 7 now, and this is a good thing that the school is doing, where there's this mile club where they're like, look, you have to be in shape and to be healthy the rest of your life, you've got to do more than just go to school. You've got to do these miles, right? So by a certain date, you can hit the 50-mile club, 100-mile club, or 150-mile club.
I mean, this is the Boy Scouts.
Right,
like you're getting merit badges, basically.
Sort of, but you get a T-shirt at the end of it, and it's exercise. And I think it's a great thing, right? And so I go on these miles with him on the weekends, and we check off the miles, and there's a calendar and everything else, and it's due by like middle of May, right? And I think it's awesome that they're doing it. But during this, we have conversations about life and whatever's going on in his life. And so he looks at me and he goes, Dad, is it okay to say the N-word? And I was like, no, it is never okay to say the N-word. I go, we've told you that. And I go, did somebody else tell you that at school? And he goes, no, but I'm hearing it on TikTok. And he goes, every song, everybody's saying it, so it must be okay to say out loud, right? And I was like, it is not okay. But to have this conversation with a 7-year-old, so he goes, so why is it okay for black people to call other black people that word? And I go, I don't have the answer to that, buddy.
Well, I'm not sure if... there is an answer to that, but I'm not sure if his brain is sophisticated enough to understand.
Right.
You have to have a
100%.
bunch. There has to be these layers of institutional knowledge to understand that.
I didn't know how to phrase that for a 7-year-old.
So you just said the N-word. You just started saying the N-word.
I said it like 80 times.
Get it out there.
Yeah, and as loud as I could all throughout the neighborhood. Yeah. And just let everybody know. No, I didn't say it. But it was one of those moments where I was like, shit, exactly what Dan said. I didn't know how to phrase it for a 7-year-old. So I just left it with, look, black people call other black people that. You are never, ever allowed to say that word, and that is it. And I go,
is that the new where did babies come from question?
Sort of.
Am I allowed to say the N-word?
You're close.
But where did babies come from? We took that and turned it into, well, technically there's 80,000 genders because...
But a stork is genderless.
I think we should really start paying a little bit more attention to the people that have chosen to spend their lives around children. And I don't think you should automatically be a suspect in anything because of that, but it should raise a red flag immediately. We should look into these people.
Even for teachers?
Yes, absolutely for teachers. I mean, there's so many activist teachers out there. There's people on TikTok complaining that they can't now share their fucking sex lives with fucking children. Yeah. Because they're gay. Yeah. No, it doesn't say anything about you being gay. Straight people can't do it either, fuckface.
Yeah. It's not cool for either of them because they don't fucking understand. And it's the same thing.
But
there is no way to explain that to a 7-year-old.
People who work, teachers, people that work in pediatric medicine, psychiatrists, things like that, we need to pay a lot of attention to these people because they are handling our most precious resource. We give people a fucking background check to work with nuclear weapons and finance, but we don't do shit about these people that are working with our kids to find out whether or not they're ideological activists, which does not belong in fucking primary education. This doesn't belong there. Yeah. We're doing nothing to that effect.
No, at all. And it's only going to get worse. And, a lot of these, where we just came from, Wilmington, they came in and stormed the school board about that and then critical race theory as well, because they want to teach that in fucking elementary school to kids and shit like that. And they're like, no, we're not doing this. That's going to be the next battle as well. And I think this next Supreme Court is going to have to deal with a lot of this shit. The don't say gay, critical race theory, all that shit, because somebody will sue and it'll go to the Supreme Court and this will become a thing just to make it a thing. But kids don't understand.
I don't think Will Smith should have slapped Chris Rock. But if somebody says birthing person, slap the shit out of him.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's not a thing at all.
And it's not a joke.
No, it's not. I'm not joking.
Whereas Chris Rock was a joke. But birthing person, yeah, dude, you deserve to be slapped for that.
Yeah, what's her name? AOC did a fucking some video on Twitter or some shit the other day where she kept referring to women as birthing people and then to mothers as birthing people and to dads as dads. Isn't it weird how women are always on the short end of all this stuff? Like we fuck up their sports, we steal their agency and identity as fucking birth givers away and just call it birth giver instead of fucking woman.
Oh yeah.
Like every time there's some progressive social movement, it robs women of their agency. Every single fucking time. It's so weird. Like, how do you not fucking see that this is happening?
My wife says it all the time. She's like, dude, we were making progress as women, and then now it's all fucking gone. Because no one will stand up for...
Ruined by men.
And not only that, but like even the swimming thing, because I was asking...
Totally
exactly. But I even asked her about the swimming thing. I was like, the Leah Thomas sitch. What's with that? She's like, I'm fucking pissed off about it. And if it were my kid in that pool, I would have stood up and said something. Why isn't everybody else... Why aren't women all banding together saying, hey, these are our sports... these scholarships matter, everything else matters, but they're not.
Title IX.
Yeah.
is for women.
Yep.
It says it right there in the title. By the way, Disney put out yesterday that they're going to stop using the words boy and girl in their programming.
Because that makes sense.
It does, because it's called programming for a fucking reason. It's called manufacturing consent. The media, whether it's content creators or what we call the news, manufacturing consent is this idea. I think Noam Chomsky came up with a phrase back in the 80s, but it's basically where you say it's the big lie theory. You say something loud and long enough, and you prep people. You normalize things by saying it so many times, it's so long that they're just like, oh, that's
how you say it.
Can't remember when it wasn't the
That's
truth.
how you do it, yeah.
That's just Hunter Biden's laptop. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even know if it's a big deal or not. And by the way, the FBI fucking lost it, apparently. So
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
weird.
I mean, they just keep saying that over and over, like Trump-Russia collusion, Trump-Russia collusion. And then everybody, the New York Times, I talked to Jeremy Peterson of the New York Times about it earlier, actually, although he dodged that question pretty handily.
Did he really?
3 separate occasions about the Steele Dossier. The Steele Dossier was Hillary Clinton got money from the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, and paid a foreign agent, right, Steele, to fabricate all of this bullshit that wasn't true. And then the entire legacy media apparatus pushed that as truth. Social media banned people for saying that it wasn't true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't. All of it was bullshit. And then they print a retraction fucking 4 or 5 years later. And that's it.
Well,
And nobody gives a shit. Like
Homeboy
nobody
dodged that question on the American
big time,
Party
yeah.
this morning?
Yeah, he did. But I mean, I expected him to. Because there's
funny,
no answer
man.
to it, and he still works for the fucking New York Times. What's he going to say? Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. If you fucking say it loud and long enough, and especially these days in our tribalistic culture, people will be like, that's not even, well, what about this? It turns into whataboutism usually.
But if you shout the headline and whisper the apology,
Yeah.
that's what everyone seems to be able to get away with.
Yeah.
You remember when Biden was saying March of 2020 that Trump's proposed travel ban to people coming in from China was xenophobic.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later said Trump didn't enact a travel ban from China.
Fast enough, yeah.
Yeah, and
you
then-
go, dude, you don't get to fucking say that.
But
you
they do.
not get to fucking say that.
They do, because there's no law against it. And like this Sarah Palin thing, and I'm not a big Sarah Palin fan by any means, but they printed a story about her that was completely false. And then you have to prove malicious intent at the end of it. And it's like, we know your fucking intent all the way around. The case got thrown out. She took it all the way to trial, and she's
But you're not
appeal.
going to win one of those if you were famous before it happened. Like
Yeah.
if you're Nick Sandman, the kid that sued everybody and won, or what's his name?
Rittenhouse,
he's gonna win quite a bit of money
Fuck
as well.
yeah, he is.
If you're somebody whose rise to fame was happened at the same time as all the slander and shit, you're probably gonna do okay. But if you're already a public figure, that's really hard to prove.
Yeah.
Do you think
really
it's
hard to
worthwhile? So I went on Tim Pool's show on the day that the Rittenhouse verdict came out, and we had this conversation. Is it worth the psychological strain for a young 17, 18-year-old kid for 6 months of feeling like his life might be over and the entire world talking about him, to then never have to work again for the rest of his life?
I wonder.
I think it's a little beyond that now. Like he's never going to be able to live a normal life in this country.
Yeah, and
It's just not going to happen.
But
oddly,
is it worth it? Because you got a lot of money,
Yeah.
but you kind of have lost some of your freedom, but you've only lost your freedom domestically, but you're always going to have this trauma that you're going to carry with you. I mean, there's a lot of therapy, like a couple of $100 million is going to get you a lot of therapy.
So I've thought about this, actually, and I think it depends on what age you are. So with that kid, he's going to grow up and physically change. Do you remember that meme of, it still goes on to this day. It's the guy with the girlfriend holding hands, but he's looking at the other girl.
Yep.
They showed what they look like today, and they're totally different. And like, I would never pick that guy out of a lineup, right, today, because he's young enough and he changed and his looks changed. I think this kid has a shot because in 10 years or 5 years or whatever, he will look probably totally different, and nobody will know as he walks down the street who it was, and he'll be on one of those fucking game shows where it's like Hollywood Squares of like, oh, you were the fucking Indian drummer kid with the Trump hat or whatever, right? Whereas Jim Carrey brought this up last night when he was talking about Chris Rock, and he said, I think Chris Rock should sue Will Smith for $200 million. And the reason being is whenever you hear Chris Rock, the rest of your life, all you're gonna think of is him being slapped by Will Smith, no matter what he does the rest of his life. And I agree with it. I wouldn't sue. I would use it in material. But he was right in the fact that, yes, whenever I hear Chris Rock the rest of my life, I will think about him being slapped by Will Smith, and then I will think about how great of a stand-up comedian he was second.
I was going to say, when you think about Will Smith, you don't have the same positive outcome.
Not anymore.
You know
I will
what I mean?
think of he's the guy who fucking slapped Chris Rock, and then the rest of his career is after that.
Yes.
I mean, it's why the purpose of the entertainment industry is to entertain, and when they started to try to inform, also things went off the rails. Like, I don't give a fuck about your personal life, dude.
Yeah.
Just do movies and shut your fucking mouth.
And if you want to have...
I know that's shut up and dribble,
Yep.
and maybe it takes away some of your agency, but you can't live both of those lives.
You cannot. And I'm with you, and I think that's the difference with podcasts. Like, with us, these are our opinions. We're lucky enough to have the audience we have, and everybody wants to hear them, but they were nothing more than opinions. You should not take this as...
Gospel.
Yes. And so if you're an entertainer, like an actor or a basketball player or whatever, you're paying good money, like Dan said, you're paying fucking money to be entertained for 2 hours or whatever the fuck it is. I don't want to think about your politics or any of your other fucking bullshit. After you retire or quit, great, go fucking scorched earth.
What is it that makes us think that people that are good at throwing a ball into a hoop should also have interesting insights when it comes to social policy?
Well, it would be interesting to hear from people who have lived in both worlds, I suppose. That's the only thing that I can think of. So LeBron grew up poor, without a dad, with a shitty mom, and now he is extremely wealthy to a degree that most people don't understand. So hearing from somebody like that is interesting, but it's not informative, because that's not a journey that 100% of people are going to go on. Nobody does that. That's like 1/1000th of the population maybe will ever even come close to something like that. In that way, it's interesting, but again, not informative. You know what I mean? And I think people, like you said, there's been the process by which you earn fame has gone away. There's no earning fame anymore. You just get famous by one way or another. And athletics are part of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, there's nothing about becoming a great athlete that makes you good at socially conscious stuff.
This is what so the show that I did was Love Island in the UK, which you guys, we then exported, and you guys had a season of it.
We did that over here.
So that was what I did. And what you see now, what it teaches young people about what fame is not that you're supposed to be good at something and grind away at it consistently for years and years and years until you accrue sufficient goodwill that you're worthy of being well known. What it teaches you is that you're to hope that you get picked out of obscurity by, do you remember in Toy Story, the claw?
Yeah.
And it comes down and picks the little aliens up. Like, that's what it feels like now. That's what young people believe. SoundCloud rapping, mumble rapping, and reality TV, and one TikTok video of you drinking cranberry juice on a skateboard going down the street. Like, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So the lesson...
But that's the lottery.
But that's what everybody is looking for now.
So I guess the Zennial generation are basically like the fat rednecks in the South that have been buying scratcher lotto tickets.
Just doing it electronically now on TikTok.
Yes, that's all you're doing, and you're hoping for that one moment.
But it's consumed
that
their entire identity. Like, I don't like. It's one thing to waste money, and some people have made the joke that the lottery is basically a mechanism to get welfare checks back from poor people, which is probably true to some degree. But that's a one-off thing, and it does affect your life. There's no question about that. But that's something that you do on Fridays when you get your paycheck or something. It's not something you think about 24 hours of every single fucking
You're
day.
not existentially tied to the
Jesus
lottery.
Christ,
And just because you were famous, quote unquote, doesn't mean you actually made money off of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Case in point, my wife and her former co-host on Drinkin Broettes, they made this wine video where they drank it upside down into each other's mouths, and it got 34 million views. 34 million views, and people were calling them the wine girl. Like, we were getting stopped and like, oh, the wine girl. And like, her friends thought that she was rich now. You must be fucking rich. 34
million views.
They got a case of wine from some company. That was it. 34 million views.
Like, why would you get rich? People, I guess people are naive about the way the entertainment industry is now. Because back in the day, if you were rich, you were probably making good money. It's not always the case. Like, if you're a young actor and you're in your first series, 2 or 3 seasons in, you're not making great money.
No.
Probably.
No.
But after season 5, you're probably making pretty good money
Real
with
good
residuals
money.
and shit. But now, people just think of celebrity or fame, whatever, and wealth as the same thing. And it's never been less true than right now.
Oh, you can be the most famous and the poorest at the same time. Absolutely. Here's another thing to consider.
I hate to stop you here because Josh Peck was just on the show.
Yeah.
In his book, Happy People Are Annoying, which is great, by the way, read it. And he talks about being on Drake and Josh. And he goes, dude, I made $10,000 an episode. I made $60,000 a year. That's it. He goes, I could barely afford to live in Hollywood, but I was famous as shit. And he was just like, people don't know, like, I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Valley. Like,
well, now there's, and frankly, it's been weird. The people that have made it happen, Kylie Jenner, for example, has turned, I guess, wealthless fame into a brand, which she then monetized, and she's the first self-made billionaire female in the history of this country
for makeup. Yeah.
I think she's the youngest.
And also the youngest billionaire, I think. Yeah, so it's like there is a process for that shit, but most people don't do it. Like the D'Amelio families have done. The D'Amelio family's done it, but it's because
on accident.
Their dad is a fucking finance dude.
Correct.
Like he understands.
Yeah, he's playing
but
the
without that, what do you do?
Yeah, and he never pushes kids in to that point. Kris Jenner did the same thing with that family. She monetized the entire family.
She's a fucking genius.
A genius. And like, dude, I will never fucking slander Kris Jenner. Like, that's one of the most powerful genius people there is
Brand
to do
creation.
that to the whole family. Even the fucking fat one, Rob, who you don't see or do anything. He's got a sock company. And the socks have made like $40 million or something crazy, and it's just socks.
Think about, so Tim Ferriss has this blog post called 13 Reasons Not to Get Famous. One of the best blog posts I've ever read. And he talks about what it feels like to overshoot fame. And this is a problem that basically almost no one is ever going to deal with. But for the people that do, it's a really, really serious problem. And think about what it means to become more famous than you want to be. So he explains about how when he was going away on a holiday, he would book rooms under a different name in case people thought that he might be staying there. He would never upload or write about the places he was going to in advance or even while he was there in case people turned up. He had a guy that was sure that Tim was telling him secret messages via his podcast saying that he wanted to be in a relationship with him. So he camped out on Tim's front lawn. He's got P.O. Box. He's got a bunch of different types of phone numbers. He's got security on site like at all time. All this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I was at Onnit's gym, and this dude had drove from Denver in his car with a book that he'd handwritten himself that he needed to give to Aubrey. And I'm like, Aubrey's a normal-sized like level of celebrity, right? Like,
show them the stuff that people bring us. Where's that bobblehead?
Oh, yeah, let me grab it.
Is it in the box? Yeah,
stay on there too, Shell. Let me grab it
This is why I like our fans more. So we have fans that pop in here all the time from different places throughout the country, and they bring us the funniest fucking shit that I've ever seen. Now, you remember that meme of the black gentleman with a giant dick? Even the dick is a bobble dick. Like, I don't know how much of that you can show on air here. But.
So I'm gonna, I can see it on my frame here. I'm gonna block out this part here, but boom, it's what you think it is. Now, not only does the head bobble, but what's underneath my index finger also bobbles as well.
Junk
it's
bobbles.
cock bobbles.
And a fan sent us that too, that wine holder. That's the same dude.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
It's just a wine
it's the
holder
same
that's
dude,
like
but
that.
it's a wine holder.
Yeah.
So we get cool shit, and it's fine. But it's
if you show up with a fucking manifesto, I'm going to send you on your way. Is what the point I was going to make
But
there.
think about what it means. If you are 5 years old and you want to be a YouTuber and then you decide to go after it, think about what it means to get a few million subs on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. But you could turn that. There's a very clear way to turn that into money.
My point is, think about what that means for your own privacy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For a period of time, you're not going to have the same level of privacy that most people want.
Maybe ever again in the internet culture, because the internet never fucking forgets. Just 2 days ago, so it was like maybe 13 or 14 hours after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Somebody found a video of him on Arsenio Hall making fun of a bald dude in the band.
Yeah, with alopecia. Yeah.
From 1991.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The internet doesn't ever forget.
Do you remember when The Rock supported Rogan during his first video?
Oh, yeah.
And then someone brought it up about when Rogan's N-word video came out, and The Rock sort of reneged on that and said no. And then somebody found a clip of him being rude to a Chinese person on WWE, and then calling someone in a wheelchair something on Twitter. 15 years ago or something. You go, bro, there is way too much history.
That's
and you can't have it both ways.
No, well, it's a problem with the whole moralistic culture, right? It's like it's a one-upsmanship
that circular firing squad
you
yet again.
can't fucking do that shit because everybody fucks up. Eventually, it's an eye for an eye. This is fucking 5,000-year-old wisdom. An eye for an eye makes the world go blind, bitch.
Yep.
Like, the Code of Hammurabi is not still in play in most places for a very specific reason because it doesn't work. But we're doing it again. It's social Hammurabi now. Everybody's just fucking gouging each other's eyeballs out all the time. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. But to be fair, my life trajectory and experience has been such that when all this crumbles and falls apart, I'm going to still be fine. As a matter of fact, it might be even better for me because
Why?
I'm better prepared to live in the woods and fucking go out murdering people and do what I want than I am, like, compared to the normal person, than I am smarter, I guess, or more ingenuitive or better at business than the normal person. So the divide between my capability to survive in the Thunderdome versus the average person is farther apart than regular life.
I remember seeing this meme of a dude, like a broad young guy in a shirt, obviously at work somewhere, and he's stood at the front of a Bed Bath & Beyond, and he's got a thought bubble coming out of the side of his head, and he says, 2,000 years ago, I would have been a proud warrior. And the point is that we have selected a particular type of person to rise up through the dominance hierarchy in the 21st century, right?
Yep.
It's people that... dude, one of the biggest competitive advantages that you can have in the modern world is to be like 5% autistic. You know, if you've got that, just the, you know, the
Yeah, it helps.
Salt Bay guy?
Yeah.
You just want to sprinkle
Yeah,
it.
just a little
You don't
bit.
want to overshoot
You want to
it.
touch a
You don't
retard.
want
You don't want to go
You
full
want to
retard.
be able to maintain eye contact,
Yeah.
but be really good at maths.
I'm not good at maintaining eye contact. But
Maths?
Yeah, good at math, yeah.
Got it,
Yeah.
you know? But that's my point. Like, if you were to have some sort of regression, post-apocalyptic Mad Max shit, have you read Tucker Max's Doom or Optimism post?
Tucker's been on the show.
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
Tucker.
Tucker
you
was
read
on
his
the
most
show
recent-
a few months ago.
No, I haven't read his new one yet.
Dude, get him back on to talk about Doom or Optimism. Everyone's talking about this shit. But I mean, he's living on a street where it's like him and a Marine and a SEAL on the other side of
Yeah.
him, and he's got food that'll last
Yeah,
him.
he's got a farm
So
there.
he lives
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
street from me.
Yeah.
Does he? I've
Yeah,
been to his
yeah,
house. I've
yeah.
been shooting at his house. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yes.
Do
Tried to
you
get
know
an Uber
about-
back from Dripping Springs. Difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Shit, we took some business people out for to that brewery out there.
Yeah.
And to sample the beers before we were making the seltzer. And you know, it wasn't that late. I think it was like 9, and we were trying
Hard
to
to
get
get
an
him
Uber.
home, though.
48 minutes, your driver will be here. And I was like, what the fuck? And the brewery was closed.
Yeah,
We
you
were
got to
like,
take
what
one
the
of
fuck?
those little electric scooters out there. I think is the best.
You're at range distance to get out there.
Yeah.
I think that's why Texas pretty much lets you drive drunk. Where they're like, hey, dude, you're not getting
Everything's
Ubers
too
out in
far
the fu-
apart.
It's too far apart.
Yeah.
But did Tucker go into the school and all that shit with you?
Yes.
That's wild.
I met the principal.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you considering sending your kid or kids there?
Potentially.
What's it called again?
I ran it. I forget the name of it. Not, and also don't want to expose it to in case.
No,
it's,
the name of the type of school.
Montessori.
No.
Yeah.
But it's
No.
like a non.
Kennedy's got
It's
one.
like a non-hippie version of a Montessori.
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure what.
It's a specific type. Yeah, whether it's
Well, Tim
outdoor-
Kennedy's is Apogee. That's the
not
name
that
of it.
either.
But that's just a fucking place.
I
Super
forget the
practical.
name of it, but I ran into somebody else who was like, "Hey, dude, I watched your show and you would Tucker on." And he goes, "My kid goes to that school," but he whispered it to me, and I was like, "Oh, why? That's cool." I was like, "Why are you whispering that?" And he's like, "People think it's fucked up. They think it's weird." And I was like, "I don't think it's weird. I think it's fucking. That's amazing."
I was asking the guys, I'm pretty sure it's the principal or the head teacher or something, and I was saying, how did these kids perform at the SATs? That's standardized test,
Yep.
right? And he said, exactly the same distribution that you would get if you went to any other sort of school, except for these kids are way, way, way more in touch with their emotions, and they understand how the world works, and they haven't been sat in classrooms for the last however many years.
Right.
And medicated for it. So
And medicated, yeah.
we put 5 to 13-year-olds in classrooms where they have to sit still for 90 minutes at a time. And then when they can't do that, we say, well, there's something wrong, man. We better give them
Medicalize
something.
it. Yeah.
What the
Dude, let me
fuck?
tell you this. So
Isn't that the weirdest shit?
in Britain, the school bell that occurs in between lessons to tell the kids when they need to change, which was for most of the schools were built in the early 1900s. The bell that they chose to go on the schools was made by the same people that made the bells that went on the factories.
Really?
The same bell, the same.
Well, at least it wasn't a steam whistle.
but it's yeah, true.
How funny
It's the
would
same.
that be?
It's the same tone. Like, think about what's the subtext of that teaching you.
They're
that
preparing workers. That's,
Precisely.
It's that's
Precisely.
people are so wrapped up in partisan politics these days. Peterson makes this point a lot as well, that people have these ideas, and it's basically monolithing. It's like all of this does this, which is a retarded way to go about. That's not how people think. Like, that's not how you should think about problems, that members of a group have done X, so all members of group X do whatever the fuck. That doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. If you apply that in the inverse that it's being applied right now, it's that all black people are criminal bullshit from the fucking 70s and 80s that led to quite a bit of racist nonsense, right? But now the social strata is such that it's okay to say that with the 60-19 fucking CRT bullshit, right? White people
is fine.
White people have historically been oppressors. Not some white people have historically been oppressors, which is the reality of the situation. But white people as a monolith have, and that is fucked up. That's a really fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
And it's also not true. I mean, what's happened is that patrician classes have risen up in every culture that's ever existed, and they have dominated the lower classes in one form or another, whether it's fucking despotism or feudalism or whatever. It's always been like that forever. And it's still like that now, by the way. And if you don't believe me and how quickly all this shit materialized in the United States and how persistent it's been, even here in the land of the free, read the book that I talked about before from the 1920s called America's 60 Families. And that outlines the first part of our country and how 60 families controlled most of everything throughout that entire period.
Vanderbilts, all those guys.
Vanderbilts, Roosevelts, yeah. And then you can read about FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was related to 12 additional presidents. Mm-hmm. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But William Henry Harrison, obviously Teddy was his fifth cousin, but like a bunch of dudes. And it's persistent now. George W. Bush, his mother's name is Barbara Pierce. That's her maiden name, right? Remember Franklin Pierce?
Yeah, it dates all the way back to Franklin Pierce. Yeah,
that's his fucking like great-great-great-great-grandfather. It's been like this forever. And even these people that we think are outsiders, I guess Trump was a different one, but all these people we think are outsiders, like the Rodham family was not. Clintons may have been outsiders, but Rodham was not. They've been around. They were one of the America's 60 families. So this shit's been going on forever in every culture. We're no different. And a small group of people who have learned to leverage wealth and power through sometimes brutal tactics, sometimes through, genius fucking social programming, have dominated everybody forever.
Yeah.
And we think that, fucking white people did it. We were responsible for Genghis Khan too in the Ming Dynasty? What all are we responsible for here? Just give me a list.
And then we'll go through it.
Fucking cunts.
Dude, this has been awesome, man. We've really enjoyed having you on today. Now's the point in the show we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
My buddy Sky. Sky is a local podcasts organizer in fact, he worked with you guys.
Yeah.
Sky from Modern Star.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Great dude.
Sky, yeah.
One of my best friends that since I've been out here, been an absolute G to me, looked after me, introduces me to people, takes me to new places. He's been, I always think when people say, who is it that you look up to or admire? And people pick some celebrity that they've never met, that it's a lost opportunity. Mm-hmm. Like I always try and find friends that I look up to and that are role models, and I take pieces from them. He's my bro today.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love it, Sky King.
Yes, sir.
That's rad. Tell everybody where they can find you.
The real Sky King, though, is Bebo Russell, and everybody knows it.
Obviously.
Remember that guy that stole the plane in Seattle and did a fucking barrel roll and
R.I.P.
slammed into the ground?
One of the best in the biz.
I mean, look.
What a way to go, though.
It's the best.
That was
the fucking best.
What a way to go.
I feel like that. I don't really care for the airlines that much. So in my opinion, that was a victimless crime. He only killed himself.
And he took one plane. Nobody else was on it. So fuck it. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
And we made some money off T-shirts for that.
Well, we did, but it wasn't intentional. We were promoting his life. No, we were promoting his life.
Yeah.
Because it was the Alaskan barrel roll champion from, what was it, 2018, 2017?
Yeah, 2017, I think.
And it was really funny. Sure, we just did it because it was hilarious and rad, and his friends loved it. Somebody reached out and they were like, this is fucking awesome. Meanwhile, everybody else was like, you're promoting suicide or whatever. I was like, if that's how we wanted to go, who gives a shit?
Yeah, if you want to go
Blaze
out,
of glory, man.
do something.
Yeah, cool.
Kyle Kinane does a joke about this, the comedian Kyle Kinane. It's like, if you're going to kill yourself, put a glass of water at the bottom of the Empire State Building and then jump off.
Yeah.
And be like, did he think he could do that?
Do you think he could make it
What's happening here? Go out with a question mark. That's what he said. And I think that's really fucking funny.
Like if Dan offed himself tomorrow, I wouldn't do a show the next day about suicide hotline. We need to take care of one another. No, dude. Dan obviously wanted to fucking kill himself.
Yeah,
so he went out the way he went. Now, if he went out in a disappointing way, then I'd be pissed off about it.
That would be loud.
I wouldn't do that to people.
Okay. Just making sure.
I understand that there are expectations.
Yes. and you're an entertainer.
Feeling the pressure.
So go
Even
out.
in
No,
death,
no,
you're
it's
feeling
not.
the pressure.
It's not pressure. I've got it all worked out. It's fine.
I've thought about this every day of my life.
Thanks for being here. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Chris Williamson on YouTube and Modern Wisdom, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And if you want a list of 100 books that you should read before you die for free, that's chriswillx.com/books.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here, dude. This was fun.
Appreciate it,
Fun
man.
show
Thank you
today.
for making me feel welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for drinking some seltzers, dude, and being a fucking homie.
Gluten-free.
We're trying to change society. For D'Anthony Holloway, Chris Williamson, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros podcast.